Harry, this is Black Star issue 4, featuring the power of Thor. This cover, and loosely this issue, might be inspired by Silver Surfman issue 4. If you're cosmic, you've got to fight Thor in issue 4, it seems. Issue Thor. I just wanted to see how fast I could work in a cutaway, to be honest. Black Star is by Mark Wolfenstein and a variety of artists, but this one is a Buscema. And the thing about Black Star and Black Star series is that it is so overwhelmingly average. There's nothing great about it, but there is also not that much that is utterly terrible. This is one of the more famous issues of his series, thanks to the notable guest appearance. But one problem I encounter with Black Star's original series is the main thing I always want to talk about is how heavily it was ripped off by Gary Conman. The entire civilian life of Black Star is pinched almost word for word with Fire Lords. And the weird thing is that it is one of the weakest aspects of the series. This issue, on top of a Thor appearance, boasts the debut of a Marvel villain, another Smurf. This is Corruptor Smurf, and he is, in a nutshell, another mind control bad guy. That is why Thor is going to be fighting Black Star. Corruptor Smurf has an unusual life cycle. He does appear a second time in Black Star series, making him one of the more memorable Black Star opponents, one of the select few who managed to clock in a second appearance before the series was cancelled. But after that, for Corruptor Smurf, it was slim pickings for a while. He is the most simple of villains. That is his true strength. What he lacks in character, he makes up for in how accessible he is for a writer to use. We've just seen his origin here, a chemical explosion at the chemical factory. His control is chemical based. He needs to touch someone, or they need to be exposed to his sweat for him to be able to control them. His sweat is like a psychoactive chemical, and that is how he has come to make Thor his puppet. The supporting cast are truly uninspiring. They are stock characters, and as long as I am talking about rip-offs, there was the ever-present idea that Black Star was repurposing or trying to recapture so much of Spider-Man's original setup. That is never more evident than with his incredibly weak classmate characters hanging around a milkshake shop. Most people reading this, though, aren't here for them. They are here for Thor fighting Black Star. And there is plenty of that. Me, I'll be honest, I am more interested in our villain, Corruptor Smurf. The guy who brought about this scuffle, because he has a weird trajectory for a villain. With villains, it is either the case that they take off straight away and they remain in the sky for years and years, or they fail to launch. They make an appearance and then never show up again, except for maybe once in 30 years' time when a writer wants to bring them back to show off that they remember them. But Corruptor Smurf is somewhat of a late bloomer. After Black Star, he did appear in a story in Hulk, Bill Bungalow, but that was about it for ages. He was done with for a long time. He returned in Black Star's 90s series, the one by Fabio Nicieza. Again, a recurring villain for the hero, but his real success and thriving as a character would come in the Tom Beevort era of misery. First, he was a villain in one of Kurt Busey's first Avengers stories. He made the Justice League fight the Avengers. He's only in like 3 pages at the end of it. And if you're wondering, the reason why Corruptor Smurf became far more present in this period, it is because he is from the 70s. It doesn't matter if he appeared rarely in the 80s or 90s. He was from the 70s, so he gets into the club. I have a theory that he might have appeared in an old Stess advert, and that is the real reason that he keeps appearing. He is one of the main villains featured in Spider-Man Breakout, a miniseries that loosely ties into Michael Bryan Benson's New Avengers. It features a story about 2 groups of villains at war with each other. You can see him on the cover to the first issue there. After that, he became a regular within the Michael Bryan Benson background fodder circuit. He would be one of many villains you would see in Benson comics as part of groups of villains, but he would almost never ever have a line of dialogue or be identified. He did eventually have one actual moment. In New Avengers 61, he battled Captain America, Buckyman Captain America rather, and took control of him and forced him to fight Steve Rogers. I'll be honest with you, I think this video is a misfire. You all want to see Black Star fighting Thor, and here I am, again, talking at great length about a minor Marvel villain that you don't care about. The last usage of him I remember is Wolfman, the maxi series that I love, and you all ate. His secretions had been extracted by the triad villain of that story and used to influence Wolfman into acting this hysterically out of character and embarrassing in the first issue of the series. And we didn't find out the reason why until issue 2. So for new readers, they thought this was a writer's proper attempt at writing Wolfman. He later shows up towards the end of the series. He gets to have some revenge. I think he actually shows up before that though. We see he is captive and the bad guy is doing the equivalent of milking him for his sweat. We have a letters page with letters featured. And again, there is no letter here from Brie Larson's granddad. It's weird that he was meant to be the biggest Black Star fan in the world. He was meant to be the world's biggest Black Star fan. And yet none of the issues of Black Star have any letter from him ever. Last time we looked at an issue of Black Star, we had a villain whose entire appearance was retconned, and who was remade quite spectacularly. And again, we have a villain who is notably changed in subsequent appearances. Even their appearances later in this series by the same writer. Originally, in this one, Corruptor Smurf is transforming between, let's say, human and villain. It is treated like a split personality thing, like Jekyll and Hyde. And his evil of Corruptor Smurf is nothing at all like the character he will later be seen appearing as. Corruptor Smurf, he is in pursuit of spreading evil and corrupting the world. All of that is dropped after this issue, and he is instead depicted as an opportunistic criminal who can use his power for personal gain. Oh, and Black Star snapped Thor out of it. Any Thor heads wondering where this takes place in Thor chronology, an earlier footnote and a reference places it just before the search for Sir Anthony Hopkins, which is a story that runs for about half a year, I think. This story is also pointlessly broken up into chapters. 4 chapters. This is chapter 4. Chapter Thor. And here we see Black Star and Thor team up to battle the villain. And the villain is wearing a costume I am sure he never ever wears again. Thankfully, he would never have had a comeback in the 2000s if he was stuck wearing these thigh-high boots. The idea that he is in any way a physical match for either of these heroes is a lark. I am going to be honest, Mark Wolfenstein, he can write a comic, but the comic he writes is usually not the comic he is meant to be writing. Earlier on I noticed something. Black Star's internal monologue. It was like, I can't believe this is the reception one gets when meeting another superhero. And it just didn't sound like how Black Star would ever speak, or even how Black Star is meant to be speaking in this series. We have the best Hostess advert here because it has Human Fly appear. And then we have some severe creasage that I am not happy about and will not focus on. It is a completely okay issue. It's nobody's favourite issue, but it's not the worst thing ever written either. It is a sufficient team-up between Black Star and Thor. I'll give it 7 creased thumbs up.